Welcome to NYNJPA Weather, your severe weather source for the Northern Mid-Atlantic. I'm your meteorologist, Stephen DiMartino, and welcome back from the holiday weekend. Is the week going to be active, hot, and humid? Well, let's check out the forecast. We're going to start this morning with the visible satellite picture, and as you can see, clear skies are dominating throughout much of the Northern Mid-Atlantic. We have a stationary front cutting through extreme southern New Jersey and then south of Long Island. So what can we expect for today? Well, the good news is that this stationary front and the area low pressure is trying to develop along it over the Tennessee River Valley will remain to the south of the region, which means that we'll remain in a drier air mass with clear skies. Not necessarily cooler though. Unfortunately, because the air mass behind this stationary front really isn't all that much different with the exception of humidity, temperatures will remain rather hot once again. Along the immediate coast, look for mid to upper 80s, possibly a few upper 70s over portions of southeastern Long Island due to a stronger influence from the Atlantic. But otherwise, along the coast, mid 80s. However, as you move further away from the coast, look for temperatures in the upper 80s to lower 90s, especially in the Delaware River Valley, where winds coming off of the Appalachian Mountains will become enhanced, and as a result, that downsloping wind will support temperatures likely in the lower 90 range, anywhere from 90 to 93. So overall, though, not a bad day for July, especially this time of year where temperatures can become very hot and humidity can become rather cumbersome. For today, low humidity and temperatures around 90 degrees doesn't feel all that bad, especially if you have a pool. So what can we learn from today's weather pattern for the rest of the week and into the weekend? Well, we have three distinct different type of air masses. We have a hot and humid air mass sitting up over the Gulf Coast up through the Tennessee River Valley. That is divided by a stationary front. Then we have the air mass that's over the Northern Mid-Atlantic now, that's hot but less humid. And then we have a real change in the air mass, which is the cool and dry air over Canada. This cool, dry air mass is never going to reach the Northern Mid-Atlantic. Every time these cold fronts approach the Northern Mid-Atlantic, the air mass behind it is forced towards eastern Canada and does not move south. I'll show why in the latest forecast guidance. But what we can learn from this is that although there will be periods where the humidity will drop, will remain in the temperature range anywhere from the mid 80s along the coast to lower 90s over portions of the Philadelphia and New York City metropolitan area. We really don't have a drop in the temperatures or a significant change in the air mass because we really don't have a significant change in the overall pattern for at least the next 7 to 10 days. So what you have now is basically what you're going to see throughout the rest of the week. The one major change between today and the rest of the week, though, is that this stationary front is going to wash out. We have a little bit more humidity built into the Northern Mid-Atlantic. Not as bad as what we're seeing over the southeast, but still more humid. And as a result, there will be a better chance for a few isolated thunderstorms as these weak disturbances, as you can see, the blue areas in the upper Midwest, will try to clip into the Northern Mid-Atlantic, generally focused over New England, but remain to the north of the Northern Atlantic, keeping the potential for a few isolated thunderstorms. Nothing widespread, but certainly a nuisance, especially in the afternoon and evening. So let's take a look at the latest forecast guidance. This is the European model guidance from the Penn State eWall website for Saturday evening. Now, you might be saying, well, what about the rest of the week? Really, this is pretty much the same pattern for the entire week. What we have generally is that these disturbances are moving into the west coast, travel along the Canadian border, move towards northern New England, and barely clip the Northern Mid-Atlantic. So you get these weakening cold fronts that will move through every other day, trying to produce an isolated shower or thunderstorm, but in the end, washing out, weakening, and not really having much of a significant impact on the overall air mass in place. Again, kind of take what we have today and repeat it. Ahead of the cold front, a little bit more humidity, better chance for some low-level fog, some rather dense fog in some locations, especially along the coast. Behind the cold front, slightly lower humidity, temperature to remain just as warm, no chance of fog because of the low humidity, but then that humidity comes right back. And the reason why is because we have this constant battle between a deep upper level trough over northeastern Canada and a building ridge that expands from the Rockies all the way into the western Atlantic, with a few areas of weaknesses in between these ridges. But overall, the idea here is that higher heights dominate much of the United States, which means we remain very warm with temperatures well above normal and basically remaining in this hot and humid air mass back and forth as these disturbances move through. So really the forecast isn't going to change very much. Aside from today, each afternoon we'll have a threat for an isolated shower and thunderstorm. One note about those thunderstorms. For the most part, they'll remain weak, but there will always be a chance that one of these thunderstorms, because of a mid-level disturbance or interaction with a sea breeze front, could become severe without much notice. In fact, that happened this weekend over Ocean County and parts of eastern Pennsylvania, where a thunderstorm was able to intensify rapidly and produce some hail. The same type of potential can happen again throughout this entire week, where a rogue severe thunderstorm develops, produces very heavy downpours leading to flash flooding, large hail, frequent lightning, and of course, very strong wind gusts. The only good news in that situation with these thunderstorms is that the wind shear is going to be relatively weak, so there will be no shot whatsoever of a tornado. Just a nuisance of a thunderstorm that lasts about 30 to 45 minutes. Thank you for trusting in NYNJPA Weather as your severe weather source for the northern mid-Atlantic. Of course, now you can follow NYNJPA Weather, especially for severe weather outbreaks, on Twitter, Facebook, and now Tumblr, along with nyNJPAweather.com. I'm your meteorologist, Stephen DiMartino. Have an excellent day and get out there and enjoy the weather.